Coming to paperback and e-readers, Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl. The aspiring angel takes on a wicked teenage witch in this action-packed all-new Esteemed series adventure. Pre-order your copy of Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. You often hear many of these far-right types talking about the concept of merit. Now, according to these people on the far right, they say that people are not being given things based on merit, meaning that these individuals earn this through their own hard work, and they believe that they need to restore a system of merit in this country as related to jobs and related to business and the economy. And these people basically believe that things are not fair to those on the far right. And I have seen examples of this in my life with these far right types who talk about the whole concept of merit. However, most of these folks talking about merit are basically completely full of it. Now, I learned a hard lesson about the whole concept of merit when I was young back in the 1990s. Now, back in the 1990s, I had just graduated college, and I thought that I would be able to get a job based on the concept of merit because I had graduated at the top of my class with a 3.95 GPA and a degree in business, and I thought that this would be appealing to employers. However, when I got into the job market, I learned that there was no concept of merit at all. When a black man with a college degree and no work experience could be considered not qualified, meanwhile, a white girl or a white male or even a Hispanic girl or a Hispanic male with a high school diploma or even dropping out of high school could be considered qualified for a job and would be given an offer for that job before the black man who had gone out here and graduated at the top of his class. Well, no, there was no concept of merit or anything being so-called fair. No, there was no concept of this at all when I entered the job market. No, when I entered the job market, I didn't know what I was really running into was white supremacy. And when it comes down to many of those on the far right, like those comics YouTubers and many of these right-wing pundits, they love to talk about merit when in actuality what they want to do is continue receiving benefits from the system of white supremacy. Now, when it comes down to these individuals talking about merit, a lot of these individuals basically are making a talking point that they are diametrically opposed to, and as they are completely diametrically opposed to that whole talking point of merit, they're sitting there talking about how they want to be able to earn things legitimately on their own. However, what they don't see is how they have received a lot of benefits under the system of white supremacy, a system that basically is going out here giving them giveaways, goodies, and most importantly, guarantees that allow the entire system and economy to be a rigged game that benefits those on the far right and benefits those white people on the far right so that they can ensure that they get a guaranteed result and get guaranteed benefits that basically benefit white people. White people who basically, again, have believed in the lie of white supremacy and believed in the lie of white supremacy to the point where they basically go out here and believe that lie to be the truth. And with them believing that lie to be the truth, they basically are sitting here talking about merit when there's never been any sort of merit as related to the foundation of this country. Because when those pilgrims came to Plymouth Rock in the 1600s, they did not earn anything at all as they looked to colonize this country. No, they did not earn anything at all. No, those so-called good Christians basically used all sorts of duplicity and treachery to go out here and take advantage of the Native Americans, take advantage of the Native Americans who went out here and looked to go out here and help them out. That's when we started to see, again, these individuals talking about merit. They never, again, looked to go out here and do things through their own hard work when they colonized these lands. No, they looked to go out here and oppress people. And as they looked to go out here and oppress people, they looked to, again, gain that advantage where they could go out here and get those benefits of other people's labor at their expense, first with Native Americans, who basically would take their own lives rather than be part of being enslaved. And when that didn't work, what they did was go out here and get Africans from West Africa, brought them over to do their labor as slaves. And as they took those people and made them slaves, they had them doing their labor. And as they had them doing their labor, they wanted to talk about, again, the concept of merit and earning things on their own, when in actuality they never learned anything on their own, because had these white individuals had to actually go out here and do their own work, this country would be the same type of place that many of these third world countries would be. It would be in that same place because many of these white individuals, they never earned anything on their own. No, they never earned anything on their own like the historical propaganda likes to present as related to American history, because when it comes to American history, many of these individuals on the far right, they love to go out here talking about the whole concept of merit and earning things on their own, when in actuality this entire country has a history of white folks, again, not looking to earn things on their own, but looking to take advantage of other people and look to destroy other people, like in the case of foundational Black Americans after we were given our freedom. After foundational Black Americans were given our freedom, a lot of Black people went out here looking to build businesses, looking to build wealth, and when it came down to those Black people who earned on the merits and were becoming direct competition to many of these whites in the South and even in the North, there were terrorist campaigns waged against those Black people, and terrorist campaigns to destroy these people's homes, take away their fortunes, take away their livelihoods, and even take their lives in lynchings and shootings. And these same white people on the far right, they want to sit here and talk about merit. Well, when those Black people were looking to, again, build their lives during the times of after the Civil War and Reconstruction, why weren't those Black people left alone? Critical question I want to ask many of those far right types about merit. I mean, why is it that when those Black people went out here and were building businesses and building homes and building families and debunking your anti-Black narratives about Black people being savages, Black women being Jezebels, Black people building up, again, responsible communities, those people earned on the merits. But when those Black people earned on the merits, this is where these terrorists came in and looked to, again, destroy their lives. And the reason why they wanted to destroy their lives is because they wanted to foster a codependent relationship where they kept Black people at the bottom and made white people at the top, and wanted this codependent system because these same white individuals basically were benefiting from a system of white supremacy. And as they were benefiting from that system of white supremacy, they basically feared that if they had to deal with an actual system of merit, they would not be able to compete. And with those Black people, again, being able to compete on actual merit, this is what really upset many of these whites, and this is one of the reasons why they created oppressive policies like the Black Codes, which made it where black people were forced by law to work for white people, and black women were forced to work. Moreover, they further made more oppressive laws after getting Supreme Court verdicts like Plessy versus Ferguson of separate but equal, which really was not equal, because the separate but equal was all about establishing white supremacy and making sure that there was no merit and nothing was really fair. No, it was about continuing to make sure that black people were in a permanent second class and ensure that they were in a permanent second class so that whites could continue receiving these goodies, giveaways, and most importantly, a guarantee of a lifestyle that would be defined as white. This is what the whole thing about merit was all about, ensuring and guaranteeing that this white person was given a privileged lifestyle that put them above black people. That's what they were talking about. Again, no merit here based on the definition of the word merit, because again, merit means that you earn this on your own, but how do you call yourself earning something on your own through merit when you got an advantage and received an upper advantage due to a system of goodies, giveaways, and guarantees based on a lie? Another critical question I want to ask those folks who want to sit here talking about merit. They sit there and talk about the concept of merit and again, earning things on your own through your hard work. But whenever a black person earns something on their own, this is where these racists start to become insecure. And as they start to become insecure, they start talking about how things are unfair, when in actuality things are being made fair, and being made fair to be in a place where there was actual competition. And it's that competition that many of these people who talk about merit, this is what they're really afraid of. What they're really afraid of is actual competition. They're afraid of actual competition because competition actually means that these people, they have to come out of their comfort zone, they have to get out of that box, and they have to deal with a real world of true competition where they can't live in that place where they're living with these lies that that white supremacy has told them. And this is why many of us foundational black Americans, we have to come out of this whole idea of merit as presented by far rights, people like those on the far right, like the comics YouTubers, because many of these individuals, they sit here and talk about playing by the book. And as they talk about playing by the book and playing by the rules, this is where we find out that there are no rules when it comes down to white supremacy, and there's no such concept as merit. This was something that was told to me by God many years ago. A long time ago, again, I used to believe in this concept of merit, and I continued to buy into that concept, thinking, oh, I could earn things on my own, but you can't earn things on your own when the game is rigged. And I didn't understand back then when I was younger what God was talking about when he told me, going by the book is not God's way. And now that I'm older, I understand why God said that going by the book is not his way, because the whole going by the book and playing by the rules is not God's way, because this whole book that was written as related to the rules is a lie. And many of these individuals, they only write those rules in order to eliminate their black competition. They create a rule book of trying to say this is the right way, when that way basically is your end, because these people who wrote the rules, they don't play by the rules. Moreover, what they do is change the rules as they make it up as they go along, because with the white supremacists, it's all about whatever they feel is the rules. And again, the rules are something that they want the other side to play by, which is black people. But when it comes to them, they will do whatever they please and do whatever they please to eliminate their competition, because when it comes down at the end of the day they don't want to compete, and they don't want to compete because they want to continue maintaining their system of goodies, giveaways, and most importantly, guarantees that ensure that their people continue to live a middle-class lifestyle or a wealthy lifestyle from generation to generation. They want to continue living this lifestyle from generation to generation, and they want to continue maintaining that system of things that ensure their people are in these places of power, and they'll go out here and break all of their rules to ensure that that system is in place. And that's why that whole argument of merit is complete BS. It's complete BS because that argument of merit, again, and going by the book, these guys never went by the book from minute one and only wrote the book of rules to ensure that they can continue maintaining their power base. They'll sell the rule book to black people and tell us we need to go out here and follow these rules as related to being legitimate, but they themselves were never anything about legitimate because they are living the lies that the devil has told them, and all about maintaining the system of lies that the devil has created. But the whole thing is, this is why going by the book isn't God's way. No, the way that we are supposed to go is written in the Word of God, and that's what I finally understand about why God told me that going by the book isn't God's way, because the book we need to go by is the Bible, the gospel of Jesus Christ, the gospel of the Word of God, the gospel of the Most High. This is the guidebook we need to go by. This is the standard we need to follow, because man's book is based in sin, and the system of white supremacy is based in sin. It's based in sin, based on a lie that's designed to, again, make the world look like it's being controlled by the white supremacists, when in actuality, the world is run by Jesus and met by his standard. And we have to come out of that book of rules made by men as related to the jobs and the job market, and start looking at God to be our provider of resources and the one who will meet our needs. This is something that I'm starting to come to understand. We have to come out of this frame of thinking that many of these far-right religious types, like the comics YouTubers, love to present. I mean, many of these comics YouTubers, they love to present this whole argument talking about merit, and, oh, this is why these people are not good for comics, because they are so-called woke, when in actuality that woke argument makes no sense. The actual argument that should have been presented is that these people are inexperienced and basically hired due to politics, and it's really a argument about politics as related to things. And again, it's about politics as related to these white males, again, not being able to get the guarantees of being able to work in comics. That's what these guys are actually upset about. What they're actually upset about is the fact that they won't be able to work in comics and get the guarantees from the system of white supremacy. That's what's got many of these guys in comics real upset. They are upset because they couldn't get those goodies, giveaways, and most importantly, guarantees that they would be able to get these jobs at Marvel and DC. And that's what's got them upset about the whole concept of merit, and shows how full of it they are. But when it comes down to foundational black Americans like myself, we have to understand that the whole argument of merit is something we can't continue to invest in. We can't continue to invest in that argument because we did invest in that argument of merit during the days after slavery in Reconstruction. Many of those black folks went out there and built businesses based on so-called merit, worked and got things legitimately, And the white supremacists, just like they did in the 1600s, went out here and looked to take away what black people had, and take it away because they were fearing actual competition from those black people, and basically wound up taking away a economy that would have basically been on the size of Japan, destroying an economy on the size of Japan, because they want to continue receiving those benefits, goodies, guarantees, and guarantees most of all. They want to continue receiving those guarantees, and that's why they don't want merit. You can hear these far-right types like the comics YouTubers and even President Trump talk about merit, but they're all full of it at the end of the day. They're all full of it because they don't want merit. No, they don't want merit because in a system of actual justice and actual standard under God, these people wouldn't be able to compete without the advantage given to them by white supremacy. And without that advantage given to them by white supremacy, most of these folks would basically be scavenging for their everyday lives, and that's what the thing that upsets them the most. And this is why they come out here with this disingenuous argument about merit when they never earned anything at all. Now, if you want to pick up some of the books that I've worked on over the last 25 years on the SJS Direct imprint, you can find all of those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to see me make more videos talking about things like merit and things related to the values of this country, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA from the Black Boule in this action-packed all-new John Haynes series adventure. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Amari's Revenge. The goddess next door is confronted by a Nubian queen out for revenge at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in this inaugural Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Amari's Revenge in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.